Welcome to this video. We're going to talk about the numbers and the number line today. So here I have a number line drawn. On the left-hand side, you'll see in blue some negative numbers, zeros in red, and I have some positive numbers in green. The green numbers are the natural numbers. Those are numbers that we naturally think about for counting and whatnot. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. If we add 0 to that mix, we have this set called the whole numbers. And if you add negative signs to the natural numbers, you end up with, and combine that with the whole numbers, you get the integers. If you try to make a fraction with a pair of integers, we get the set called rational numbers, and those can be simplified. You can also convert them to a decimal form, and any decimal that terminates or repeats could be written in fraction form. And so that would be a rational number. And on the number line, I have two examples. I have negative 2.2, and I have 3/2. Those are rational numbers. So we're going to be talking quite a bit about these types of numbers through the rest of this class. I want to talk about what absolute value is. So the absolute value of a number is that number's distance from 0 on the number line. And so here I have the absolute value of x. It's represented with vertical bars, and since x is a variable, that's just the absolute value of some number. And again, that is measuring the number's distance from 0. And since we are talking about distance can't be negative. It doesn't make sense to have a negative distance. So when we're talking about absolute value of some number, it has to be bigger than or equal to 0 for all x. And before we conclude this video, I want to have a real quick working knowledge of what absolute value is. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at, for example, the absolute value of 3. So if I want to take the absolute value of 3, I'm asking how far is 3 from 0? So let's take a look at a number line. If I put 0 here, and if I count off 3 units, I get to number 3. So 1, 2, 3. There's 3 units from 0. So the absolute value of 3 is just 3. If I want to take a look at a negative number, so let's take a look at absolute value of negative 4. If I look at a number line, again, we're going to start off with 0, and negative numbers go to the left, and we count off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's put negative 4 there, and we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Since we're moving 4 units to get from 0 to negative 4, the absolute value of negative 4 is just 4. And finally, if we're not going anywhere, the absolute value of 0 is just 0, because 0 is 0 units from itself. So whatever we plug in to the absolute value, it basically, if there's a negative sign inside, it's going to get rid of that negative sign, because you can only have a positive distance. That's why in a lot of math classes, a teacher will say whatever's in the box is positive. And that's a kind of a nice working definition, so to speak, or a tool to use to figure out what the absolute value of some number is. But if we use a definition, it's actually the number's distance from 0. So we're gonna have to do some algebra with absolute value, but before that, we're gonna have to learn how to do some arithmetic. So this is gonna be really important when we're talking about adding and subtracting integers, which we will be getting to in my next video. So I will see you there.